A bunch of grown men playing dress up.
His face scares little children.
You're like some kind of cross-dressing Jedi manure spreader.
You are a disrespectful suckbag. You're an arrogant jackass.
Hello, my name is Tommy Stryker, the arrogant jackass, and this is the best pro wrestling podcast. Taco's here.
What up?
Joe is here.
What is up?
And
That was weird.
Got a lot to talk about this
What a
week.
fucking night.
What a week it's been. So much to talk about.
You like me busting out those old sound bites?
Yeah.
We haven't heard some of those in a while. Like,
Classic.
Skinny turd.
and
No talented. Waste of space.
Who can forget this one?
I'm gonna throw up.
And we brought this one back this week over on Strong Honor. We actually talked about the old liver commercial.
Do you feel sluggish or tired throughout the day? Have you ever thought the problem could be your liver?
So
My liver.
My liver.
you can check out all of that over there on Strong Honor. We talked about the upcoming Honor Rising shows for Ring of Honor this weekend, and the 16th, or not the New Japan anniversary show. The card got released for that. So we talked about all of that, plus some ugly Michael Elgin news, which I want to talk a little bit about on this show as well, but we'll get into that here momentarily. But we got to talk about the very eventful and historic Monday Night Raw. We'll get into that. The very unnoteworthy Smackdown. And, of course, our Elimination Chamber predictions and preview. We'll get into all of that this week as well. So, should be an awesome, fun show. Looking forward to it. And let's jump right into the news, shall we?
Pro wrestling.
We have quite a bit of news.
He said jump, not die.
So the biggest news coming out of WWE was the announcement that there will be 12 pay-per-views this year, and or not. I don't know if there will be 12, but they're going to be monthly pay-per-views where they will all be co-branded. So both Raw and SmackDown represented on these pay-per-views starting after WrestleMania. A lot of people rumors are going around, nothing confirmed yet, that these are going to be 4-hour pay-per-views, so longer pay-per-views, but less pay-per-views, allegedly, than before when we were doing the dual-branded pay-per-views. I'm glad that they moved quickly away from doing 2 a month, but recently it's been more, we've had to wait a long time between, like, SmackDown pay-per-views and Raw pay-per-views.
Just, like, at first it was spaced out nicely and then kind of got jumbled together to 2 a month, and then towards the end there was like SummerSlam, and then you got Survivor Series instantly, and then Royal Rumble happened, so they couldn't really develop a path without the major four kind of getting in the way too.
So do you think this is going to be the end of the brand split, kind of like it was before? Or personally, I like that SmackDown has its own guys. It makes a guy like AJ Styles feel more important. You've had the New Day over there now. You got the Ziggler and Baron Corbin stuff going on as well. But I like what they've been doing with Benjamin and Gable over there. I like the tag division on SmackDown, but basically, I like the idea or the fact that the SmackDown crew is getting more focus because they probably would be getting that focus over on the Raw side. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I'm disappointed myself. I mean, I know it's a little bit of a hectic schedule with this stuff, but I feel like it gave, like you said, it gave you the separate entities. You had a separateness to it. It's not just one show between WWE crossing everything over. I like them getting the focus. I like them being able to separate themselves. It's hard to explain, but like they get more. Yeah, exactly. Raw's the big flashy show. I think SmackDown's just the B show. As sad as it sounds, but they've been doing better this year.
That's the thing is the ratings are slightly up, but them going live and all of that. I mean, yeah, the ratings are up from where they were from when they weren't live, from when they didn't have an exclusive roster, but they're not up enough that it's like, oh my God, we got to keep it live and all of this. So obviously this is all speculation. We don't know if they're going to go back to non-brand split or whatever, but certainly
I like the brand split.
Certainly, it's a way to keep you got more focus on AJ Styles. The problem, though, too, is going back to, why didn't SmackDown pay-per-views do so well? Well, for 6 months you had Jinder Mahal as the champion too. I mean, that's a big. If you're the casual wrestling fan, or all you're watching is Raw, and you hear that Jinder Mahal is the champion of SmackDown, I'm not going out of my way to watch SmackDown.
You also got to realize too, AJ Styles, the #1 wrestler for the last 2 fucking years of the whole world, is the WWE champion for the last 4 months. And has the product really been any better since Jinder Mahal's been champion?
Since AJ's been champion, you mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like all this heat's getting put onto Jinder, and AJ's been champ for the last 4 months. And has the product been any better?
Right, no, SmackDown's been about the same.
At first it was, you kind of had Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, encouraging, growth in this, and now the show is them.
Right.
It's getting fucking old really quick, and it's definitely hurting the product. And as much as I want to see Kevin Owens and AJ Styles go at it, and they should have fantastic battles, they just don't. They just do not click with each other.
And you're right, and that's kind of my argument against, AJ's had the championship for 4 months. Well, the AJ's entire championship reign has been about Shane McMahon and his quarrels with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Christ, we haven't even had Nakamura on fucking SmackDown since he won the Rumble. Right. That's your moneymaker right there.
Nakamura and AJ Styles is the big match for WrestleMania. Nakamura's been gone. Yeah. The most over competitor on SmackDown, Rusev, wasn't even on the show this week. So we'll get into all this as we talk about SmackDown later, although there's not a lot to talk about.
I just kind of think about the past, though, when we first originally had the brand split, and, it was unique at first. You had, the women's title over here, and you had the cruiserweight title over here. These guys had their own tag titles, and the world champ was going back and forth between the two shows. That was a big clusterfuck after a couple months because, just Brock's on Raw this month, Brock's on SmackDown this month, Brock's on Raw this month. It's like fucking a divorced kid going to dad's every other weekend.
But I think that'd be a way to get some eyes on SmackDown that maybe normally wouldn't be there. I was an idea that I threw out on Twitter earlier this week, actually. Like, do we now, if they're going to go to single branded pay-per-views, do they consolidate the titles at one point and do like with a champion going back and forth? That was an idea that was debated a lot going into the brand split. Are we going to have champions on each show? And it turns out that's exactly what they did.
Kind of like what they have going on right now, where, realistically, the Intercontinental Championship and the United States Championships are like the main titles. If you really want to look at it, they're on the show every week. They're being fought for, scratched for, clawed for every week on Raw and SmackDown. I like the idea of not to the extreme of a Brock Lesnar effect. I want him there more frequently, but I like the idea of, that one golden egg there that everyone's fighting for. But it's just, how do you different them? Because I want to see these 2-3 month long feuds too going on. I don't want to see a month feud.
That's a good point. It's hard to tell consistent stories when the champion is bouncing back and forth.
We're sitting here praising, Naito's story going fucking 2-3 years, how he, with Okada going on. It's like, the long con, the patience of these people. The stories are so well thought out, and we can't get it because it's like, we look at the Bar and the Rollins feud, like they were going at it since fucking AJ Styles wasn't a champion. But it's like, I still like that they're doing that though. There's fight there. Not every feud needs to be a short feud. I like some long feuds too. It's just, you got to play your deck of cards right. You got to know what you're doing with, and it's just, I don't want to go back to that system because like, I don't know why, like, that era of WWE is kind of, it's getting that double look again where people are like, oh yeah, this was great. It's like, no, it wasn't the greatest time of WWE. And
I actually stopped watching.
We got one of the best roster right now, and
that's an argument really for keeping the brands separate and keeping own champions, because you do have so much talent. And I think doing one pay-per-view per month with both brands, it'll be a little bit longer, but I think they'll really be loaded shows with like lots of good stuff on them instead of like a lot of filler stuff. Your Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler stuff.
I just want to keep Clash of the Champions. I'm sorry, that is one thing that I kind of look forward to with this brand split, was the fact that you could have heavyweight versus heavyweight, United States versus Intercontinental, the tag title from each squad going at. Is that Survivor Series? I thought it was Clash of Champions.
That was Survivor Series where all of them fought.
Right. Well, yeah, they did the champions versus champions. Clash of Champions. It was
Didn't
just
they do one like that though?
They did. Well, they did Night of Champions where all the titles are defended, but that was like a Raw exclusive one or something like that. And then you're right. It was Survivor Series where they did champion versus champion.
But either way, like pay-per-view aside, I like that element. It doesn't matter who's champion. You could have a heel on heel, a baby face on baby face in that situation just for the fun of it because you've got champion versus champion. Which champion are you going to like more? I like that kind of stuff.
Well, that's why they put the strap on AJ to have AJ versus Brock.
Yeah.
That's true. And it was because AJ had that great match with Finn Balor as well, that where he like flew up from South America or whatever to up here to the Twin Cities to do that.
I like the idea of just less pay-per-views, though.
Yeah.
Combine them together, but maybe do 1 or 2 for each brand throughout the year, still to have their own isolation. Like, there's still a way to do it. There still is a proper way to do it. Like, looking at 205 right now and the overall, this was the first week I was more excited for 205 than SmackDown. Like, how fucking crazy is that shit? But I like that they weren't even on Raw at all. They weren't even acknowledged on Raw. I like that they're on their own fucking world right now, doing their own thing and tearing up. That's how they should be doing it.
Full disclosure, I watched the entirety of 205 live this week. I watched the YouTube clips of SmackDown. So that's how I got my SmackDown coverage this week.
I like that, and kind of jump into 205 a little bit. But before Buddy Murphy came out, made his big debut, they showed him making weight for it, and I don't want to go to that extreme of them doing a make a weight for the heavyweight champion or make weight for the Intercontinental, but they somehow need to make brackets and kind of isolate some people in there for a little bit if you're going to do a brand split but the same pay-per-view. Yeah,
it's an interesting idea that gets thrown around from time to time, of like not necessarily weight restrictions or whatever for the different classes of title. But what does it mean to be an Intercontinental champion? What does it mean to be the heavyweight champion or the Universal champion? And how do you arbitrarily just move between? Well, I'm going for this now and I'm going for that now. It'd be nice if there was a little structure there, but again, it's hard to do it without doing the weight limits thing in pro wrestling is. I believe it's too restrictive.
It is.
Especially, you look at the junior heavyweight situation in New Japan. A lot of those cruiserweights could have been a lot more over had they just been thrown in to the regular. Like a guy like Neville was doing fine on the main roster stuff, but he definitely shined when he became cruiserweight champion. That was kind of a big moment for him. But again, he kind of hit that glass ceiling then too, and that's I think where a lot of the issues go with the cruiserweight stuff. But I do like the idea of, well, who's in the Intercontinental class? Who's coming up to challenge for that? And same thing for the.
That's just the biggest issue I have too. And then you also got the UK Championship out there floating around that they still haven't really figured out what to do yet. And it's just like, just make it a part of NXT already.
They really should, because at this point it doesn't, obviously a year into the creation of the UK title, they're not going to do that UK show that they were originally planning on.
At least stop calling it like the UK division.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, they definitely need to incorporate that. And who knows, maybe, who knows whose department that falls under at this point? Because Triple H has been using it on NXT, but is it, Vince at the top saying, no, we're going to wait and not do anything definitively with that yet? It's kind of a mess.
That sucks because they made a really good looking belt too, and I would not want to take that away.
Yeah, and it's got some prestige because it's been treated like a good championship, only having a couple of people hold it up to this point, and all of the title defenses have been good matches.
And I love that, especially that last match with Nigel on commentary. He was asked like, "Oh, would you like to see an American Roderick Strong win that?" He was like, "Absolutely not."
Right,
like, no,
exactly, yeah.
So there's that that British pride in that.
Right. So other news stuff. I said we were going to talk a little bit about the Michael Elgin thing here on this show.
Winning that Strong Honor.
And we did go into it on Strong Honor, but the only reason I wanted to bring it up is there is another element to the story that I forgot to talk about on on Strong Honor. So again, if you're not familiar with this story, Michael Elgin, former Ring of Honor wrestler, currently in New Japan. A big firestorm erupted on the internet back in December when he was accused of covering up an attempted rape of one of his fans at his shows. This whole thing, and then he treated the fan really poorly and treated wrestlers that he was wrestling with in Japan really poorly. Just talked a bunch of shit and via direct messages that got released, so on and so forth. Basically, the gist of the story is Michael Elgin is an asshole and a piece of shit, and he's lost a lot of indie bookings because of this. But New Japan recently re-signed him for 2 more years. But with the language barrier and all of that going on, they probably weren't really on top of all of what was going on with Michael Elgin.
Voice your opinion.
So most recently, over this weekend, he showed up at the what was the damn name? AAW. I can't remember. Taco and I were going to go to the show. Turns out couldn't go. But glad we didn't go because Michael Elgin shows up there as a surprise. The promoter ended up apologizing, being very apologetic. He'll never work here again. But yeah, he put him on the show as a surprise. Everybody was upset, and so that was basically the gist of it. For more, check out Strong Honor or go on the internet. You can find out all kinds of awful stuff about Michael Elgin. But the other point that I was going to bring up on Strong Honor that I forgot to is that the other news is that he is suing this woman.
Oh my God, yeah.
For defamation of character and all this other stuff. And my point was the reason why I wanted to bring it up. So Michael Elgin, he's a controversial figure because again, he did not break any laws, but he's really a fucking asshole, and he hasn't done anything to redeem himself among fans that have this opinion, and he keeps trying to get on these indie shows, and he successfully got on some of these indie shows because he brought over one of the biggest New Japan stars, Tetsuya Naito. So he got on the AAW show, he got on the Revolver show where he actually wrestled Naito. So, that's an issue in and of itself, but the guy hasn't done anything to redeem himself. He's barely apologized. He threw out, some shit on Twitter that seemed like an excuse more than an apology when he should be trying to get into good graces of Moses Malone, the woman that's involved on and I believe that's just her Twitter handle too. I'm not sure what her real name is, but anyway, but because of the whole mess that's been going on with that, he should be trying to clear things up with her and make amends with her. Instead, he's suing her. What good is that going to do? What are you going to take her to court and win, and then what? Everybody's still pissed at you.
Right.
That accomplishes absolutely nothing, win or lose, and hopefully the fucker loses. But
I hope he loses.
Oh, so bad.
But I mean, sadly, the evidence is probably on his side, just because of the way bullshit like this works. But the fact that they were private direct messages and whatnot that got released or whatever, and the fact that Michael Elgin is losing work based on this reputation. So that is unfortunate, but it's also he's completely going about it the wrong way, trying to rebuild his quote-unquote reputation or whatever. He's still an asshole. I hope New Japan books him on Strong Style Evolved and he gets booed out of the building, and that the New Japan higher-ups finally see what's going on here, and they end up having to get rid of the guy or
Briscoes just beat the shit out of him.
Something.
God, please do.
God, that'd be wonderful.
Something. I mean, doing a quote-unquote worked beating the shit out of a guy isn't going to... I mean, they tried that at the AAW show.
I didn't say work.
No.
He came out and had a 4-minute match and lost at the AAW
I'm saying
show.
New Jack that shit.
About the 6 or 7 table, you start to realize that this isn't work.
No, I don't want to bring that drama in the ring.
No, there's no point.
Prove a point to New Japan, book them, let them get booed out of the fucking arena, and just... I agree. I feel like that's the only way they're really going to see, because there is that language barrier and other factors, I'm sure, involved.
And I don't think they realize kind of the how bad it is or whatever. And
it should be a bigger issue than it really is. It really should be.
Well, and Michael Elgin's a married man, and he pursued a relationship with this woman, and bragged about having relations with women overseas when he's in Japan and shit like that. And so Japan takes it very seriously culturally when you're cheating on your wife and things like that. So just that fact alone should raise some red flags for Elgin in New Japan. I want to move on. I don't want to talk about this guy anymore.
We're done.
Any other news?
Jarrett.
Yes, Jeff Jarrett into the Hall of Fame.
I'm like 50-50 on this.
I honestly, and on this show, if you're new to the show, thank you very much. I do try to keep it positive on the show, despite us talking shit about Michael Elgin and
Michael Elgin.
and all this stuff.
Fuck him.
But yeah, to me, I don't get the Jeff Jarrett thing.
It's a money thing for WWE.
I have never understood Jeff Jarrett when he created TNA and pushed himself as the biggest star. I was like, well, this is the death of this organization, which technically it wasn't, but it pretty much was. The thing's never made money, so there's that. But I don't get it. And I honestly think they're taking an awful risk here because it was just earlier last year when basically why he got kicked out of TNA. You know, he got back in the good graces with the new ownerships, the new Canadian ownership, the Fight Network, and Anthem owning Impact now. He weaseled his way back into that job and lost it because the fucking guy couldn't put the bottle down.
Give him a job and buy the name, but to keep the name or whatever, too? It was some insane deal.
So, to me, what's baffling about the Jeff Jarrett thing is the fact that he's had these controversies going on with his substance abuse.
Well, I think he went to WWE rehab.
Well, I suppose there's a...
I believe that, and honestly, I think this is, again, just WWE just laying its big dick out, like saying, here you go. You're in the Hall of Fame now because we fucking said so. We're going to let you come into our Hall of Fame. We're going to get you money, technically, and give you, a platform to talk and everything like that. And I'm, unlike you guys, I don't mind it. I liked Double J back in the day. I think he was a great heel. Now, his TNA days, like you said, there was no reason to push him as the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread in wrestling. But I liked him as the heel. Again, he was
a good heel, yes.
I don't think he really ever went babyface.
WWE or WCW Double J?
Both, honestly. It pissed me off as a kid. I hated fucking country as a kid, which means I fucking hated him right off the bat.
Like I'm not too familiar with his early WWE, more familiar with his Attitude Era with Owen Hart and his China work and all that kind of stuff. The shit I did see from WCW was when Jeff Jarrett was in there, and that was some of the worst shit I ever fucking seen.
Those were the bad days of WCW, too.
When you're hating on his TNA days, I think those are far better than his WCW days.
Well, those were literally the worst days of WCW.
It was some of the worst shit.
WCW going out of business.
And it's just, he's part of the problem, too, though. He did really great things with TNA, this tiny company, NWA, TNA, with some of they had some great fucking matches out there, and this is where I'm kind of like 50-50 on it.
But it was him pushing himself at the top for too long.
That's my thing. But some of the things I've seen, online too, it was wrestlers still kind of unknown, but they're like, this is awesome. He was one of those few people out there that gave us a platform and gave us a chance, go out there. So. Yeah, I know it's kind of a stretch. So it's like, okay, cool, get your cash grab on this guy. I don't know. It's I don't like the Hall of Fame as it is, anyways. It's a joke to me. But
getting back to the Hall,
it's just so strange to me.
Getting back to the Hall of Fame factor, I don't really care about that. I just I think it's kind of fascinating that WWE, being that they're big on PR and all that they're putting this guy in their Hall of Fame when it was just mere months ago that he was having issues.
But what better PR move? He had his issues. You have your past with him, and things are better, and you can move on. I mean, look how long it took, for Ultimate Warrior to ultimately make up. With them, and he fucking shortly passed after that. Bret Hart, so
Scott Hall going in a few years ago with his past issues, him getting clean down there at the DDP's house.
I'm one of the few people that watches that whole thing, so I'm actually going to enjoy Jeff Jarrett on the mic. If that's one thing you got to give Jeff Jarrett, the guy is fucking good on the mic.
Yeah, he can definitely talk his face off.
It's definitely going to be fun to see kind of what happens out of this. It's just WWE. Watch yourself with this guy.
Yeah. So.
No, man, he's going to sneak in. He's going to get into creative. You know what? It's going to happen, and then there's going to be on a pole matches.
That would not be a good idea. All right, let's move on. Let's talk this Monday Night Raw and get into these Elimination Chamber predictions.
Change the subject.
I believe you mean Monday Night Rollins.
Yes.
On Rusev Day.
Yes. Monday Night Rollins on Rusev Day. Wow, what a Raw. What a historic match.
Yeah, broke a record.
The longest WWE match in modern history, maybe in Raw history, who knows. But yeah, they talked about that a little bit on Raw itself. Hell of a performance by Rollins, going
hour and 5 minutes.
over an hour, which also is historic.
Insane.
And they did things along the way to give him plenty of little rests. They worked some long headlock spots, but I thought that's
it's not like Omega and Okada didn't have that.
right. Small criticisms like that aside, I thought it was very, very good. Especially very well done.
Fucking Cena and Rollins too, man. Reigns in that match
back to
too.
back.
They fucking held their own with him, and shows you how fucking good Rollins is. Rollins is getting all the praise in the world, and hell yeah, but John Cena showed up for him, and Reigns showed up for him, and all three guys fucking awesome.
Yeah. I liked the finish with Reigns, just the roll up. So Reigns has some plausible deniability there, kind of gives him some props after the match. So I just liked that battle back and forth between those guys. And then the Cena stuff was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Cena just playing subtle heel, just kind of being a little bit of a dick, just enough so that whole crowd was behind Rollins in the match. Just fucking brilliant.
Well, and with the finish that he did with hitting the AA on John Cena too.
Yeah, Rollins hitting the AA, and then Cena, of course, hitting the AA early in the match and getting a near fall out of it. Then Cena going for the super AA and Rollins with the counter, and hitting the ripcord knee and into the stomp. I loved him using the stomp again. Great that they're bringing that back. Of course, we've talked about that. It's kind of weird. Sometimes they're calling it the blackout. Sometimes they're just calling it the stomp. Whatever. I'm fine with it. What did Corey call the knee? He called it like the spin out knee or something like that.
I thought you just called it the knee.
The knee, that's fine.
Let's start calling all of Rollins moves the.
Yeah, the Rollins, the move, the thing. Yeah. Well, anyway,
the dick pic.
Really good stuff. Again, over an hour, great performance.
Hell yeah.
And really think about how Rollins has kind of made a comeback here. Back into that main event picture after being out of it for so long, being kind of stuck in tag team land after being part of the Authority for so long, coming back from the knee injury, winning the Universal title or not winning the Universal title, having the match with Finn Balor where Finn Balor won it. But then since then, he's kind of been in the background, hasn't really been in that main event picture. And this, I thought, was just brought him right back in to that main event picture. The question is, now what do you do with him? Because certainly he can have a great performance in the Elimination Chamber, but is he a guy that's going to win it? Probably not, based on just what
I
everybody
like him
thinks.
having that fire, though. I'm going to tear through and go through every motherfucker in this ring to get back to that Universal title. That's the fucking Seth Rollins way. That's the man. That's the architect we know.
Right. And that was, we needed to see this type of babyface performance from Rollins. And even let's talk about the presentation of this thing.
I was going to say, one of my favorite things was the interviews in the back between the scenes.
I saw a lot of people dogging on it, and I completely agree with you guys. I like the Cena one especially, just fucking downtrodden. I've got to do something here, I love it.
Those people that are mad about it are just mad because they don't have the words going across the screen to spell everything out for them. But I love this John Cena right now, where he's quickly realizing that he's not the face John Cena. He has to do everything possible to even keep up with them.
He's John Cena's being little heel here and there, man. In that interview, he's making excuses. He's like, I got to focus on a lot more things than Seth Rollins is, but I understand that. And he's like, Seth Rollins is a full-time pro wrestler, but man, I got to go do the Today Show and do all this other shit, and I'm fucking John Cena, but I got to give credit to Seth Rollins, not saying those exact things, but just hinting at it. It's just like, oh, fuck this guy. Who cares? I don't care. I loved all of that. I like Rollins in his post-match once saying, it was a great performance, but I didn't get the job done, and I got to get the job done at the Elimination Chamber. I got to win this thing and get to WrestleMania. Great job building Seth Rollins back up. It'll make for the Elimination Chamber match itself more exciting, just having him being elevated to that spot. What did you think of Elias being the one to finally take out Seth Rollins?
Man's on a roll.
It's a smart move. Why the fuck not? Like, elevate him just that little bit more. He's taken out a beaten down over an hour Seth Rollins. Takes nothing away from Seth Rollins.
Nope.
Elias gets the win. He gets the cheap heat. Why not? I know what WWE stands for. Do you guys know what WWE stands for?
I loved it because it just was, fuck. It's like, yeah, he's going to hit his stupid drift away and get the win. After an hour and fucking 5 minutes, you got the fucking drifter coming in here, and he's going to fuck around and hit his stupid drift away. It was great.
Yeah.
And then Finn Balor and The Miz. Finn Balor looked great. Looked like he belonged. And then Miz with taking on Braun Strowman at the end was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I wonder if I get points for the one Miz win.
That's a good question. Well, that's interesting because it's a gauntlet match. So really,
It's ideally who wins the match.
The only winner, yes, is who's standing at the end, who was Braun Strowman won the match.
Shit.
So I guess Braun Strowman gets you fantasy points there if you've got Braun Strowman on your team.
My only complaint with this gauntlet match, though, just to be nitpicky about it, though, was I feel like this should have been the match for the last spot.
Just at the end of the show?
Just at the end, yeah.
Instead
like
of the beginning of the show?
I kind of would have liked to shuffle a little bit to get Braun out of the picture, right away, and kind of get Elias as the last guy to get that cheap win over someone. But, that's just me being kind of really nitpicky because it was like just such a hell of a match. It was just like when they first announced that a gauntlet match was going to happen, I was like, why would they do that the week before the Elimination Chamber? But the presentation, how they handled it was just so awesome.
I think it would have just been a big timing issue trying to end that on the exact spot when you're going to have, a 2-hour match.
And they've been treating the third hour as throwaway anyway. So to do the first 2 hours as a gauntlet match,
let's just do that every week.
Well, it's a nice change of pace, though.
It was so unique and sports like with the interviews, which I loved. Obviously, you still have the continuing issue of taking commercial breaks in the matches, which is unavoidable in a long match like this. But I mean, certainly you could have done commercial breaks in between, falls or whatever. So I mean, I'll make an argument for that because I'm always going to be the one standing up holding the flag of don't take commercials during matches because commercials during matches tell the fans that the matches don't matter. But that'll be my little pet peeve of the week rant. But yeah, great match, phenomenal. It made the first 2 hours of Raw just so really good, so interesting. And I saw that I saw a headline, but I didn't have time to click on the story yet. That Raw ratings were up due to the gauntlet match, so really cool story there. So I
might wake them up a little bit, try to spice things up a little bit instead of sticking to this goddamn formula.
So let's get to the predictions part of it. Who is going to win this Elimination Chamber? Let's do a kind of dual prediction, like who do you want to win and who do you think will win? Because, I mean, those are obviously going to be two different questions.
Well, one thing that we can confirm, and they did confirm on Raw, is that 3 people will be starting. There won't be the extra pod.
We're not going to have the shark cage above the Elimination Chamber.
Oh, I wanted it so bad.
Somebody dangling from the middle.
Fucking Finn Balor up there just hanging, just eating some chaps. Fucking chaps.
All right, so who do you want to win? I'd like to see at this point. It's for the match versus Brock at WrestleMania. I think Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar would be a really great match, and it's really my favorite story with him having to give up the Universal title. He's never had his rematch. I think it'd be really great. I don't think that's the way they're going. I think it's going to be Roman Reigns. It'll be really interesting to see what the crowd response is to that. But what do you guys think?
I definitely think it's going to be Roman Reigns that probably wins this match. As weird as it sounds, I know it doesn't sound like it would be a WrestleMania style match. the year Miz had last year, building into how much heat and how much shit that Paul Heyman and him could give back and forth with a build-up. I would love to see the Miz win. As like he deserves it. He works his ass off.
His
and
story's being that record, the Intercontinental record, though.
Yeah, I know, but and again, it's hard to really consider Miz honestly a heavyweight championship. Up in that tier, but I love him up there just because
heavyweight.
Well, keep Miz in mind. I want to get to Taco's prediction, but I have a question about the Miz. But what do you think about who do you want to win and who's gonna win, Taco?
I'm with you on that Balor situation. I want to see Balor and Lesnar so bad. I just think there's something there that to be a spectacle, a spectacle. And
well, let's speculate before you get to your official prediction. Since Rollins just had this great performance on Raw, what about Rollins and Lesnar? Is that something that interests you guys?
That's where I'm
at all?
getting
Go
into.
for it.
I really do want to see Balor and Lesnar. So, I almost want to see Balor take the title off Lesnar. Not necessarily at WrestleMania. I don't know when. I just the big guy and him. I just feel like that's gonna be like, I'm here, motherfuckers. I'm the real deal. We know he's the real deal, but those casual fans out there, they still don't quite get him unless he's the demon. But honestly, with how everything's been going, I'm leaning the Rollins route. I really think there's a story to be told there with how he just fucking snuck his way in, started kicking ass, getting everything. I'm rooting Rollins on this one. I want him to be the fucking surprise winner.
Fact.
That would be a lot of fun. Did you guys happen to see the Finn Balor, I think it was a Twitter promo or something like that. It was online somewhere, and I think it was for Elimination Chamber or this match this week, but he was just talking about, I'm not the underdog. I'm over, dog. It was so good. I love little moments like that where Finn's just got that little bit of swag and that attitude, and with the smirk and the smile on his face too. Really cool stuff. But yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun having either of those guys facing Lesnar. But I think it's going to be Reigns. That all signs have been pointing to that all year. It'll be interesting to see what the crowd does.
They also pointed to him winning the Rumble.
Yeah, that's true, and we got Nakamura, so I guess we'll see. Anything can happen. Anything. I mean, Braun Strowman is huge right now. I mean, he came out on top of the gauntlet match. The crowd is loving him. They chanted one more time, several times for him beating the shit out of the Miztourage. How about Braun Strowman throwing the Miz down the ramp and out from backstage?
Oh man, just chucking him outside. I mean, he chucked him farther than Cole.
And even Cole talked about that. He grabbed me by my belt and threw me into a crowd of people. So
see, that's the thing too. Is bringing up Braun. It's like, what do you do with him at WrestleMania if you don't have him fight Lesnar? In a sense, like it's just almost too distracting if he's not in that main event match.
That's the thing is, again, we've got this issue with too much talent, and I don't want to see a bunch of fucking multi-man
matches. We could easily do a Balor and Rollins one-on-one number one contender kind of match. Like, get some, like, holy shit, a match worthwhile instead of a one-on-one over nothing.
Well, that brings me back to Miz with the Intercontinental title. That's why I wanted to talk about him again. What do you do with Miz at Mania? Do you do another fucking ladder match like they've done, it feels like every year? Or is it a one-on-one thing? Is it Miz and Braun Strowman?
I think it really depends on what they do after Elimination Chamber. Do they just, do the classic, he's out there doing a promo and someone interrupts him and there we go. That's who's going after him till Mania.
It's true because there is a lot of time between this coming Sunday and WrestleMania. We got about a month of spinning the wheels to figure out what the Raw end of WrestleMania is going to be. So, and don't get me wrong here too. I wouldn't mind a scaled-down WrestleMania card where we just had some singles matches and some regular-ass tag team matches and everything just meant that much more. I would be perfectly fine with that. But I don't think we're going to get that. But it'll be interesting to just see where everybody falls in because what do you do with a Braun Strowman? I love your idea of Rollins and Finn Balor in a number one contender.
Just anybody in a number. Reigns and Rollins, shit. I think they could tear it up at WrestleMania for a number one contendership.
Right, but unfortunately, I see Finn and Rollins probably in the Intercontinental ladder match or whatever that they just throw everybody into, which I'm sure it will be good and entertaining, but it's like, you could build up to just something so much more interesting too, instead of just matches to, well, we're going to get all the mid-carders or the upper mid-carders.
Here's to what the record is at WrestleMania and Miz's point in that record.
His
because he's going for the number one longest reigning, isn't he? Or
it's hard to say because
whatever.
he just got the title back from Reigns like a month, not even a month ago. So he can't really. I mean, he could go for I guess not consecutive days, but all around.
That's what it is, all around. I think he's going around.
I'm guessing that would be Jericho then, wouldn't it?
No, I don't know.
Really? He was like what, 11 or 13 time fucking Intercontinental Champion?
Doesn't mean he held it long.
Yeah.
Well, either way, he's going for something.
I mean, Christ, was Sasha Banks like a 5-time women's champ?
Yeah, whatever. We had the Asuka interview from Monday Night Raw where Nia Jax interrupted. Why are we doing in-ring interviews with Asuka? Can we do something backstage and just have a translator or have subtitles?
Yes, please.
And I get it. It was a whole angle to have Nia attack her in the ring and get one over on Asuka.
They just gave her way too difficult of words to say.
Well, and it's the WWE speak, the corporate talk, the WWE universe, and I am going for the championship, and all this stuff.
Not let her be scary. It wins.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get into the prediction side of it. Asuka versus Nia Jax, the streak versus, if Nia breaks the streak, she weasels her way into the championship match at WrestleMania. We still don't know who she will challenge yet, Asuka, and whether it be the Raw Women's Champion or the SmackDown Women's Champion. It kind of feels like it's going to be Charlotte at this point, but we don't know.
Which I want to see.
We don't know what Ronda Rousey is doing. We don't know.
I don't care.
What the outcome of this Elimination Chamber with Alexa Bliss is going to be. But what do we do with Nia Jax and Asuka? Taco.
Your prediction.
Ooh, Asuka.
Joe.
Predictions.
Asuka.
Yeah.
Wow. Oof.
Yeah, me too. I think
What?
Asuka's going to win.
Dang. No way.
Again, it's
Nia Jax just got a new haircut.
it's very likely that just because we got to get everybody on the card, that yes, Nia gets she could even get a fluke win. She could get some kind of count out or disqualification. Fucking Ronda Rousey runs in. Who knows? So something like that could certainly occur and get Nia added to the match.
DQ is technically not. I guess does it count towards her streak?
I don't. Well, I mean, as long as she doesn't get pinned or submitted, I'm okay.
Right? Well, it's the same. If someone comes out, does a DQ, Nia wins that way.
Because
It's just not going to happen.
Skullduggery finishes are a WWE trope, and to me, in my eyes as a fan, a skullduggery finish to me wouldn't affect the streak. If she's never been pinned or submitted, they could still say she's had that streak.
You never really beat me.
Exactly. So there's always the plausible deniability when the skullduggery comes into play.
I think Nia Jax takes a cow prod and shocks Asuka and breaks the streak, just like Kevin Nash and Goldberg.
Okay, then.
RoboCop comes and saves her.
The Bar lost to Titus Worldwide on Monday Night Raw. So that begs the question, does this become a match at the Elimination Chamber? I have not looked to see if they have announced anything yet, but I put it on my predictions sheet just in case.
Well, it's kind of to jump into the Mixed Match Challenge a little bit. Nia and Apollo lost their match, and Apollo kind of got behind Titus so Nia could push him over. So there's some tension there.
So
Apollo went on his fours, and then Nia pushed Titus O'Neil over Apollo.
So there's tension in Titus.
Worldwide.
I think Apollo might have a little crush on Nia right now. Might be going the thou who we should not be speaking storyline.
Now that's a little ooh-ha happiness there.
But it sounds like they might be moving in that because they just dropped Apollo's name or Cruz from his name.
What? What?
He's Apollo now.
He's just Apollo.
Just
now?
Apollo. You didn't catch out
Yeah,
Raw?
the-
Michael Cole was just, he said something about Apollo Crews.
Hold on.
It's
wait.
because
What does that mean?
it's because of the Florida mass shooter. His last name was Cruz.
Oh my God! Well, okay, how about the fact that his name is Apollo Crews, Crews, and then last a couple of promos ago, he's talking about like moon landing cruise and whatnot. It's like, are you really going to incorporate Buzz Aldrin jokes into your fucking promos? So. I didn't like the Apollo Crews name anyway, so if they're just going to call him Apollo, I guess that's fine.
I'm not mad at it. I mean, that's what WWE does. I get bored. I'm sure Blake Murphy's going to be Murphy soon.
Yeah. It's just what they do.
It's
right?
what they do.
All right. So, but does Titus Worldwide, now that there's some supposed tension here, do they get the title match at the Elimination Chamber? If they do, what is your prediction? Predictions.
You know,
It's the Bar.
Yeah, Bar's going to win, but I kind of hope they do put this match on and, lose either, because that's what Nia's point was. She grabbed the mic afterward, and she looked at Ty. She's like, you only interfered in black, and you interfered in this match. You're a loser. That's all you do is lose. You ain't no fucking coach. So, that would be another kind of point for them to have that tension on that team a little bit.
We can't break up Titus Worldwide already. They were just getting interesting, goddammit. All right.
Is Tozawa still part of Titus Worldwide?
No.
Yeah, what happened to that?
I'm pretty sad about that.
He's trying to be Vince McMahon on 205 now.
Weird question. Is Titus O'Neil a cruiserweight?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Where are we at here?
Worldwide?
If the match happens, I'm with you guys that there'll be the explosion of Titus Worldwide. The Bar will
So
retain.
Paul's been looking pretty good lately, too.
Yeah, I've liked what. I've enjoyed what they've been doing with Apollo. He's been getting some momentum behind him.
And honestly, I kind of like him being all puppy dog over Nia Jax and her not having anything to do with it.
And he's had a little swagger in this Titus Worldwide gimmick. I've enjoyed him the last couple of weeks. So, let's tell a little story here with the Worldwide guys and the Bar. Why not?
Heck, even Dana Brooke.
Oh, fuck! I love the statistician. Are you kidding me?
Oh man, the stats they had on Raw.
You can tell Dana's been working out. All about sets and reps.
Stats and something else. I don't know.
He's never won in this climate at this temperature.
Right. Oh, good stuff. All right, other stuff from Monday Night Raw. The big 6-woman tag at the end of the show. Sasha Banks submits Alexa Bliss with the Clash of the Titus, I think is what it was. Where did that go?
Clash of the Titus!
There it is.
Morrow.
But what was I going to? The Women's Elimination Chamber. Alexa Bliss versus Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Bayley, Sasha, and Mickie James. How about this for a bold prediction? We got 7 men in the men's elimination chamber. This is the first ever women's elimination chamber. The women cannot be held down. Ronda Rousey comes in, signs her contract, and declares herself the 7th woman in the women's elimination chamber. Then Ronda Rousey can go on to win the Raw Women's Championship and face Asuka at WrestleMania, possibly with Nia Jackson. Who else knows?
Do you know Matt Seidel? Is he have some good shit here?
Yeah, you got some crack there, buddy?
What? No, yes.
Oh, crack! You've been hanging out with Virgil again.
I think his name was Vince. Last name rhymed with So, but anyway,
I just like there's all the hype around Ronda Rousey, and I'm not into it. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to be excited to see her wrestle. I want to see a match out of her. I'm not one of those people that can just jump on the bandwagon with her. I know she's got talent, but again, wrestling is a different pace. It's a different monster compared to what, is in the UFC ring. I'm hoping for positivity, and I'm hoping for a good career, but I haven't even heard her say a fucking word yet.
True story. Well, let's get into that because Taco, you followed the MMA more than either of us.
The MMA is that
MMA.
Seth Rollins?
Yes, like the Facebook.
Oh, I'm so fucking old.
What else?
You follow MMA, UFC. What are Ronda Rousey's promos like? What is she like when she talks? Or is it all about, because I've seen her do her entrance where it's all business, march to the ring, I'm going to kick your ass.
That's my big worry about Ronda Rousey in the wrestling world is not the ring ability, not the pacing, none of that. That
is she going to look like a
is an
fangirl?
athlete through the roof. That's the issue, is she is able to tell what is real fighting and what is, quote, fake fighting, and that's really going to stick out with her. Like, part of that Ronda Rousey charm is her anger and her being so dedicated to a fight where she absolutely hates her opponent and she wants to kill her opponent. That's the goal. She's not going to have that when she goes in the ring with Asuka or Charlotte or Becky Lynch or any of these women. She's kind of be geeked out that she's doing it.
Coming out in the Rowdy Piper jacket, half grinning the whole time, pointing at the sign.
Yeah, it's just like that's my only part that issue that I'm kind of fearing with her being in there is just not really being able to cut a promo. I don't think WWE's going to necessarily be super strict on a script with her. If you go back and watch the season of Ultimate Fighter with her and Miesha Tate as coaches, those two ladies absolutely hate each other, and there's an episode where it's a coach's challenge and it's a mountain climbing exercise. The intensity in Ronda Rousey when she's fucking climbing that mountain climbing challenge and reaches to the top and beats Miesha Tate, it's just pure hatred and fuck you fucking beep, 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 beep. That's why people love Ronda Rousey, because she's fucking rowdy. She's crazy. She's in your face. She gives zero fucks.
See, now I'm worried because WWE is going to over-script her because they're not going to trust her on because they've never seen her talk before, and it's going to come across as contrived and bad. Now I'm worried. Are we supposed to be spinning stuff to the positive on this show? What the hell happened?
I'm sorry. That was my fault. I started this whole thing.
No. It's good. Like, because she is a big wild card right now. Like it's awesome. I'm happy for her to be in wrestling. Her heart really is into wrestling. It's just
you are an overrated purple-headed Barbie doll.
Her parents were from the fighting world. That's all she knew was just the grind of fighting, fight on a consistent basis. And
is it going to translate? Though?
I hope so. But
it's working for Shayna Baszler down at NXT.
It's working, but she's also had years to kind of work on it too a little bit.
She's in the PC, so
it sounds like
I did like they showed that highlight video from Ronda Rousey and showed her doing the training and in fucking what's his name from 205 Brian Kendrick's gym working out and stuff like that in there. And
there's a photo with her and Peyton Rice out there too. So.
Yep.
But she's in the right hands. The Performance Center, that's one of the best locations to learn how to be a professional wrestler. I mean, what they've done. I mean, look at Velveteen Dream. Who would have thought he would have been one of the best entertaining acts right now? But so she has the right army. It's just how do you execute it? And I'm also excited for the new set of eyes that are going to come in and hopefully they can enjoy the product, and it gives a new spotlight for a bigger spotlight for the women out there right now.
Do you think that's going to be a big factor? Is Ronda Rousey going to bring in a lot of new eyes to WWE?
I think it will
bring a couple. It's just keeping those eyes.
All right. Well, let's get down to the brass tacks of it. Besides my off the wall, obnoxious Vince Russo like prediction, what do you guys have for predictions? Women's Elimination Chamber match.
It's really hard to pick this one. There's so many different ways you can go, and again, we don't know where it's going to go after this Elimination Chamber. Will Rousey actually, be after a title already at that point?
Right.
I as weird as I'm going to go with like how we did the men's. I'd actually like to see Mickie James win this Elimination Chamber. I'd like to see her get one more last run, and you could tell a story going into WrestleMania. But do I think she's going to win? No, I actually like Sasha in this match.
It's interesting because with the Asuka thing coming in, do you change? Do you even bother changing the title because it feels like it's going to Asuka at WrestleMania? It feels like that's going to be the crowning moment at WrestleMania. So do you even take it off of Alexa Bliss at this point? I don't think it's going to like a Mandy Rose or Sonya Deville just yet. Those too new in the company yet. And again, if it's going to bounce right to Asuka, why bother? Bayley or Sasha, I could see an argument for them. But again, if you're going to take it off one of them right away, if it's going to Asuka, why bother? Same thing with Mickie James. It would be, I agree, it would be kind of a nice feel-good story, her getting that championship one more time. And I guess if you're gonna change it here and take it off somebody at WrestleMania, I guess Mickie James might be the one I'd have the least amount of problems with changing it for, just to take it off of her.
Well, yeah, and she could give a great match between those two.
Mickie James and Asuka, yes, would probably be a lot better of a match than Asuka and Alexa Bliss. Although a lot of people rag on Alexa Bliss in the ring, I have enjoyed her in the ring.
She's done what she needs to do,
and just fucking slapping around people on Monday Night Raw in that match. I thought was great. Slapping Bayley in the face. I thought she does some good stuff. But again, yeah, I think Mickie James and Asuka would have a better match. Taka, what do you think?
Yeah, I like the Mickie James idea there, and then you can even do the WWE gimmick thing. Can you bring Trish Stratus in for a special guest referee for it? It's very WWE to do something like that.
Ronda Rousey in the 7th pod.
God, that's gonna happen, man.
Yeah, that's tough.
My botch.
I'm going to stick with Alexa on this one. She's been tearing it up, and someone out there pointed out that Alexa Bliss has pretty much been the main event woman scene since the brand split.
Yeah.
And she really hasn't really defended that championship since TLC, so it's definitely been a while.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
But seeing for how long that she's been in the main event picture, I think she's kind of going to be put on the back burner a little bit and let some of the other rise up a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be Asuka at WrestleMania. So and she's had a nice long run with it, and she's a star. She's going to get out of this. And we still have the Alexa Bliss Nia Jax feud to get into at some point as well that they've been teasing for a long time
and
too. So.
Just because let's say Alexa does win an Elimination Chamber, WWE fuckery, who she gets put in another title match, beforehand. So there's plenty of time for something to happen from here to Mania.
There is, and let's not forget with the Nia Jax thing with Asuka. If she beats Asuka, she gets in. There's a story to be told there. But I mean, I just referenced the Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss story. So if Nia can somehow get into that match, while Asuka keeps the integrity, or if she doesn't keep the integrity, if fucking Nia Jax just beats her and kills the streak and gets into the match, you could still have Asuka dominate and win, and you could still have the Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss storyline off to the side.
Or Asuka chooses SmackDown, she beats Charlotte, and Carmella comes out and cashes in.
That's also a possibility.
You son of a bitch.
All right, the only other match announced for Elimination Chamber that I saw was Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt. The last time we saw these two, Bray Wyatt defeated him quickly at the Raw 1000, seemingly out of nowhere. So we're getting another match between these two. Are they going to heat something up with some skullduggery here and keep this thing going to WrestleMania, or is this the end of it and we get something new and interesting at WrestleMania?
I kind of want something new, but I feel, how close are we looking at for Jeff coming back? Or even being able to just play a factor?
I don't even know. I don't even remember what his injury was at this point.
I remember his injury was the surgery was 6 to 9 months. And it depends on when he goes out. But going by WWE times and, WWE times, he can pop up and they can start working with the Brother Nero stuff. You could even you can even restart, forget Bray Wyatt, and go back and do the whole Matt Hardy, broken Matt Hardy breaking down Brother Nero. You could do that story into Mania again.
Or you could have Wyatt taking over Brother Nero easily.
He did almost take over Xavier Woods.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy, it's another too long Bray Wyatt storyline. the bullshit continues. All right, let's move on. Let's talk some
Matt Hardy, by the way.
Should we talk some Smackdown? Do we have anything good to say about Smackdown?
Subject.
Fun to play the sounder anyway.
Yeah.
Smackdown Live.
I got something.
I'm going to make this a tag team match.
So we're just spinning the wheels, getting ready, getting everything fired up for Fastlane, where it's going to be the 5-way for AJ's championship. We had AJ versus Baron Corbin. AJ did get a win back on Baron Corbin here, won with the second phenomenal forearm. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn come out and attack after the match, but Corbin hits his end of days on both of those guys. So it's weird. Again, we're kind of rooting for Baron Corbin against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And then we got Sami Zayn saying that in the 5-way match, if it comes down to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I'll lay down for you, Kevin. So that's an interesting dynamic there as well. And really Sami Zayn kind of cementing that I'm your guardian angel. I'll be there for you. But Kevin Owens being kind of skeptical of the whole thing as well too.
His face with the hug.
Yeah,
weird.
Really interesting. And then Kevin Owens selling the idea that that Sami Zayn let him down the week before. So all of that was at play, of course. Yeah.
Rig-wise. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna kind of change the subject, but I kind of like what they're doing with the United States title between Bobby Roode, Randy Orton, and Jinder Mahal. I kind of like this little triangle they got going on with all of them trying to get each other to distrust each other. Like, I'm cool with you, but I'm not cool with you, and then switching it around. But I think this is a good play for the United States title. It's got some bigger names, going after it again. Bobby Roode still with the champion, Randy Orton, 13 heavyweight champion going after it. It makes it interesting.
Yeah, it feels like they're working their way towards a 3-way here. I don't know if they're going to... Well, they did announce that it will be Orton versus Roode at Fastlane, so it'll be a one-on-one there. So we'll probably get the 3-way at WrestleMania with Jinder added in there at that point. But yeah, I agree. It's entertaining. Jinder's in there stirring the pot, trying to get everybody mad at each other. It's always fun when Randy Orton RKOs somebody out of nowhere. So yeah, it's good stuff for the U.S. title thing. I'm still disappointed we didn't get the open challenge that we wanted last week, and that's gone and forgotten about once again. But at least Shane kind of tried to do the maker, like, this is the match everybody wants, this is what we're going to get at Fastlane.
That's why it's like, why is Daniel Bryan being so fucking stupid right now?
Oh, he's a heel. You're not supposed to like Daniel Bryan. You're supposed to really like Shane McMahon because he's Shane McMahon. So there's that. The New Day beat Benjamin and Gable in a number one contenders match, I guess. So it's going to be New Day again versus the Usos at Fastlane. So it feels like a bit of a rerun here. But watch out for skullduggery ahead.
Skullduggery.
There's possibly going to get some of that. Possibly a 3-way at WrestleMania,
which would be awesome.
Big E in the back talking about how he's going to start bringing back the 5 count again.
Ooh, I don't mind that.
Teasing that.
That's kind of fun. His NXT gimmick where he would demand a 5 count when pinning opponents. Be an interesting little thing. Kevin Owens did defeat Dolph Ziggler with a super kick after Zayn had the... my God, what a distraction. I thought Dolph Ziggler looked like a complete moron. As Sami Zayn's music hits, he stops everything he's doing so he can look at the Tron and Sami Zayn running out, and then he gets kicked in the face and Kevin Owens gets the win. But again, who cares? It's Dolph Ziggler. Nobody gives a fuck anyway.
Nope.
So that was fine. The Riot Squad beat Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Naomi. It was Ruby Riot getting the win over Becky Lynch with the Riot Kick. Yes, exactly. So that was that. But this is continuing to build up the match between Charlotte Flair and Ruby Riot for the championship.
I think they announced it
at Fastlane. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to that. That should be good.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed Ruby Riot thus far, and the Riot Squad. I'm really liking Sarah Logan.
Sarah Logan's fun.
What if Ruby Riot wins it and calls out Asuka? And Mike drops it.
That'd be something. That would be something.
People would be like, who the fuck is this bitch?
All right.
It's not WWE, but it'd definitely be something.
All right. Should we talk about 205 Live?
Yeah, dude.
Yes, we should.
Let's do that.
Change the subject.
Still don't have that 205
I thought he was going to come up with
You got me all hyped.
I'm working on it. It's been a busy week.
Has
I
been.
went to a wrestling show on Friday. I was all over the place, but busy. But 205 Live, good stuff. Arya Davari versus Buddy Murphy making his debut.
He looks
on
good.
Let's call him Murphy now. Yeah, it's like he went on Jenny Jones and was like that From Not to Hot episode, and he was like dumping dog food on. It was like, sorry, Jenny Jones is my girl back there.
That's a great reference. What else? I listened to Colt Cabana is changing his format on his podcast, and he hasn't started his new format. But in the meantime, he's playing older interviews. And last week, I should say, he played an old interview with Arya Davari when he was, kind of on top or towards the top of the local scene here in Minneapolis. And he was talking about how his only goal is WWE. I'm not really a Ring of Honor style wrestler, and I just want to make it to WWE. At the time it was like, well, I'm a smaller guy. It's not looking good, but that's my goal. And look at him now, opening up
one of the best characters on there.
Yeah. And granted, he's not a perennial winner. He's got his spot.
He's had no sort of streak.
he loses matches. He's there to put guys over and make other guys look good. But he's got a nice little gimmick going for him, and good for him.
I like that he is actually coming out to Minneapolis, Minnesota via what is it?
Tehran. Yeah.
But like that, I get to hear that, like before they were just saying he was from Tehran, because of the character and everything. But I like Minneapolis hearing it. It's fun, to have a local guy that, on any WWE show is fun.
Sure. The debuting Buddy Murphy did get the win with the pump handle slam, a very unique kind of spinny pump handle slam after a nice flurry of strikes. Did get a couple of nice near falls for Davari with his frog splash and his hammerlock lariat, which was a nice touch added to the drama of the match. And I thought Buddy Murphy looked really good, not only physically wise, dropping down to the quote unquote weight limit, whether or not that's legit, who knows? But he looked the part, but looked really good. So, and also looked good in the ring.
I kind of wish they would have changed his music from the Blake and Murphy thing.
Yeah, that was weird. Him coming out to like the shitty dubstep or whatever it was.
It just reminds me that I was sad that they broke up.
I did not like them.
I loved them just because I think they were the start of that tag team revolution of, it wasn't new, but like they really started incorporating blind tags, way more double team, like actual tag moves. I think this is back during when the fucking Lucha Dragons were in NXT, so they're putting on those types of matches. I actually really enjoy them and was surprised when they broke them up.
I've completely forgot about the Lucha Dragons. Then we had Lindsay Dorado and Gren Metalik versus two guys, the Lucha Dragons, the Lucha Brothers.
No, it's the Lucha
Party or whatever.
Yeah,
because Kalisto came out with those guys, and apparently all the Lucha guys party together, and they have Lucha parties. So this was more of that, and those two getting a win.
Fiesta.
It's going to be Kalisto versus Roderick Strong in the second round of the tournament starting next week. So looking forward to that, as well as TJP, who won the Cruiserweight Classic, versus Cedric Alexander next week. That's a nice little story between those two, with TJP being the heel now, but having that history of winning the Cruiserweight Classic, and then Cedric Alexander, who's really gotten over lately, kind of has that. He was in that spot where he deserves a title match because he was in line to face Enzo for the title,
contender.
And then also going back to the Cruiserweight Classic, he's a guy who got signed because he got over in the Cruiserweight Classic. So I kind of like the story here of Alexander going in and defeating the TJP, who was the first Cruiserweight Classic winner, and him kind of moving on and upward. So I think that's a fun story. But we'll see what happens next week. Certainly TJP could get a win there and get some momentum.
Definitely go back a couple weeks right before the change really happened, and him and that Mustafa Ali match, man, they fucking tear it up.
Nice. Well, speaking of Mustafa Ali and tearing it up, Jack Gallagher versus Mustafa Ali. Jack Gallagher back in some actual wrestling gear.
Yeah. Some brand new knickers.
Looked really good.
Oh, man, dude, that's gross.
Where's the, we got to get this one out. Where is it? Here we go.
That is so profane,
Joe,
and rude.
So Yeah, I liked this. I liked this match. I could see some people maybe not liking it, but I liked the technical exchanges early.
Gallagher was just brutal the whole fucking match.
Gallagher just pretty much dominating the match, looking really good.
Speaking of an MMA fighter,
showcasing his style. Yeah,
literally months before the Cruiserweight Classic, he had a fight.
Yeah. So yeah, I like him showcasing his unique style. And again, I think this is what 205 Live should be about. Mm-hmm. It's not about a bunch of guys doing high-flying maneuvers. It's about smaller guys doing different styles of wrestling and getting over their different styles of wrestling. That's what heavyweight wrestling should be as well, but it's the WWE, and everybody wrestles the same. So at least on this version of 205 Live, with Triple H in charge, he's letting these guys get over the way they get over by wrestling their unique styles. So again, I really liked that. Jack Gallagher dominates the match, but Mustafa Ali does get the win with the 0-4-5 reverse 450 slam. Ali missed an ugly dive in the match a couple of times, which I'm pretty sure at this point was absolutely part of the story. But it was just great because it looked like a botched dive, and so that just really played into the story throughout of Jack Gallagher just working over that arm just brutally, and great selling by Mustafa Ali as well.
The drop kick of Mustafa Ali off the top rope into the rail, it was
hard.
Brutal.
Yes.
Like, he shot off that thing. I'm sure he threw himself a little bit, but Jesus.
So yeah, good stuff there.
Also fantasy points.
Mustafa Ali moving on, and Joe's been really excited about his SLTD wrestling.com.
I'm going to get people into this
fantasy league. He's been racking up all kinds of points this week, and I don't even remember who's on my team. So that tells you how excited I am.
Fucking Melvins.
All right, let's finally talk NXT this week. Big episode of NXT this week.
Change the subject.
NXT.
So a historic episode of NXT. They've been building it up for a couple of weeks now. If you managed to avoid spoilers like most of us, good job. I did not. I heard a spoiler like 3 weeks ago. So
nice job not saying it.
I didn't tell you guys. I kept my mouth shut. I didn't even let you guys know that I had been spoiled. I heard a spoiler, unfortunately, a couple of weeks back. But
Velveteen Dream came back.
Andrade points. Big main event: Andrade Cien Almas versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT title and or Johnny Gargano's career. You have had plenty of time to avoid the spoiler alert. Gargano lost and must leave NXT, and it was completely due to that son of a bitch, Tommaso Ciampa. The referee goes down. He's not there to
takes an elbow to the face.
But then Johnny has him in the Gargano escape, but the ref is out. And then, of course, that's when Ciampa comes in, hits him with the goddamn crutch again. Fucking Tommaso's looking jacked and scary.
Oh, my God. He looks like fucking killer, man.
Yeah. Psycho killer.
Hey, you know what I like? I liked his approach. They had the camera angle off so that you didn't see him coming straight from the middle in the crowd.
Right.
But the fact that he got into the ring so slow while Johnny still got the friggin' lock on Andrade, he stands there and stares at him for a second, then hits him. The setup is perfect, and I love it because you guys get no closure right now.
Well, and that's the big question here too, is do we get some kind of, because of the skullduggery in this match, the ref gets knocked down, here comes Ciampa. Does Gargano get granted one more match versus Tommaso Ciampa at TakeOver New Orleans, or does it all go away? Does he go to 205 Live? Does Ciampa move up? Does Ciampa stay down? I need closure. I need to see Gargano beat Ciampa, and I want it to be at an NXT show. It's not going to get over on 205 Live, even though 205 Live's been better. Maybe they could put a video package together. It's not the same. It's got to be on NXT.
I was going to say, I like that when Ciampa came out, that Andrade never tapped. He never tapped when he was in that lock.
That is interesting.
Awesome.
Yes.
But I almost want it set up where either Regal, does, okay, we're going to settle this here, you guys fucking do whatever, or Regal says, hey, I cannot grant you a match, you are done with NXT, but I have set you up a match on 205 Live, we'll move it over there, maybe you can get some attention going their way.
How about an unsanctioned match? Maybe an empty arena.
There you go.
Only if they both come out in jeans.
Empty arena matches suck anyway. We need the crowd there. We need.
And I also like the idea too of Gargano just maybe even not going to 205 and establishing himself on Raw a little bit or Smack. I don't know, something.
Yeah,
I'm kind of fancy booking at this point, but but let's just say SmackDown with the United States title, and maybe he fucking works up the ladder, proves himself, gets in that fucking big match, looks like he's going to win, and that greasy motherfucker comes out and fucks him over again months later, and it's just that's the fucking ticket. That's the point right there.
They keep the story going, is what you're saying.
The long con, the thing that I love the most that a lot of people don't want in wrestling.
Well, and with this feud too, I mean, they've done nothing but long cons, whether it be injury or even just the breakup itself. This has been an amazing story. We're all enthralled, and like you said, we want closure. I'm just enjoying how much people hate on it.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
It would be a tremendous debut for Ciampa too, because a lot of people would be like, "Who the fuck is this guy? He is a monster."
Yeah.
It's gonna help him, try to look out in the outrun, but
and I like
only
the
fancy book so much.
I like the idea of Gargano going to the main roster, not necessarily 205 Live, because I think he's that kind of babyface. He's a Finn Balor type where he can get over on the main roster level.
1, 2, 3 kid,
and absolutely, and he's got that babyface fire, and just the crowds just get behind him. He's just him versus Braun Strowman would be amazing. That would be
I'm just thinking like him and Miz over the Intercontinental, and
Sure.
Miz is like, I hired a new bodyguard.
There you go. That'd work too. Yep. All right. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for this week, I think. Yeah, great. Oh, we didn't talk. We forgot about the rest of NXT. I just talked about the main event. The Velveteen Dream beat No Way Jose with the
points.
Purple Rainmaker. Good to see Velveteen Dream back. I like him like shimmying and kind of making fun of No Way Jose with his offense here. I thought Velveteen Dream was a little bit exposed in this match, showed a little bit more greenness than we're used to seeing in his other matches with like the Cassius Ohno match, which was very good. The
doesn't help that it was No Way Jose.
Exactly.
He's still just green himself.
What the fuck is going on with this guy? He needs to step up at this point.
Well, when your name's No Way Jose, it's
I enjoy him. I at least like his promos, while yes, cheesy as hell, are they're just entertaining to me. He looks like he actually has fun doing what he's doing. It's just they've done nothing with him because he hasn't shown that extra, step. He hasn't taken that move, that Aleister Black comes in and just starts tearing it up. He hasn't had that match with anybody.
And Velveteen Dream has, and he's
multiple
over as fuck.
That's what I'm just saying. You look at Velveteen
That's
Dream,
what this was
and
all about for me was Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's just that's the issue. Is like you said, he was kind of exposed a little bit in this, but he's also a guy that's been in NXT for a ridiculously long time now, and on the main part of NXT, and has had a lot of feuds and exposure on there, and he's still really doing nothing. He's kind of where Ty Dillinger is.
Yeah, there's not much to it. He's a happy dancing character, and he's going to be in opening and mid-card matches. That's just what it's going to be unless you can add some development there. But I like, despite his greenery, I like what Velveteen Dream is doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him next. And I like our new little gimmick that we do on the show. Anytime someone says Velveteen Dream, we all mouth off to the side, DREAM. So let's.
What did they say after that, though? Is what I'm wondering.
I was listening to that on there too, and I don't remember what it is now. Anyway, that was a good question.
Yeah, wow.
Good. Something.
Yep.
Oh, Dream is. I think they go.
Is that what we're spelling?
Velveteen Dream, and they go DREAM is, but then they don't say what he is after that. He just says Velveteen Dream again. So I think that's what they're saying, unless I could be something
I'll
that
Google
sounds
it.
like is. I don't know. Get at us on Twitter, I guess. Vanessa Bourne versus Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross beat the shit out of that diva. That was nice to see.
That was fun.
And Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler is going to be next week on NXT. This coming out of the Shayna Baszler ripping
2 weeks.
ripping the
Mae
hell.
Young Classic rematch.
2 weeks.
Shayna Baszler ripping the hell out of Ember Moon's match. Or
The big news.
Ember Moon's
The big news.
Ember Moon's fucking arm in the guardrail. Last week, Kairi Sane saved her. I finally got my sentence out. Now you can talk it, but now you can do a taco without too many distractions going on.
Dusty Rhodes Classic! Ah! Finally!
Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic finally coming back. Much ballyhooed here on this show. I was hoping for it last fall, but it is finally coming 2 weeks. TM61's already tweeting about it, and hopefully, I'm sure we will get the debuting War Machine, which should be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see eventually War Machine versus Sanity in some type of match.
War Machine versus AOP.
Yeah.
War Machine versus everyone.
Yes.
War Machine versus Brizongo.
Yeah. Anyway, so, all right, a couple of other quick plugs before we get out of here. We got a local indie show coming up on Saturday this week. Pro Wrestling Battleground's going to be in St. Paul at, I'm going to fuck the name up of this bar, but it's Wilebski's Blues Saloon. Look it up on your internet maker. Pro Wrestling Battleground. If I can get
on the internet maker.
If I can get done with work in time, I'll be there. So come say hi.
Wilebski's.
Wilebski's. There
That's
you go.
how it's spelled.
Perfect. And I believe I've heard it pronounced that way before as well. So props to you, Joseph. You get a gold star and a yep.
That's a propski right there.
Woo! So yeah, Wilebski's Blues Saloon for Pro Wrestling Battleground. If I can get done with work in time, follow me on the Twitmaker, and I'll let you know if I'm going. And come say hi and grab a Best Pro Wrestling Podcast button from me while you're there and help us spread the word about the show.
Feel free to bring us the chips.
Yes, especially if tacos go. Tacos coming. He loves chaps. Also, SLTDWrestling.com. We've been talking. Joe's been bragging about his fantasy points. I believe. Are we both tied for a second?
Second right now.
So we got knocked out of first. So I might have to do some trades after the Elimination Chamber.
I'm going to reclaim my throne.
But yeah, Fantasy League over there. Lots of fun fan articles. They're already ramping up a lot of stuff for WrestleMania. So check that out.
Prediction leagues as well.
Get your predictions in for Elimination Chamber. And that's going to be going on all year long for the Predictions League. So get in now while it's still early in the year and have some fun with that. SLTDWrestling.com. Also, you can find the podcasts. This podcast. So that's going to do it for the show this week. Make sure you follow the show at BPW Podcast on Twitter, Facebook.com/Best Pro Wrestling Podcast. Send us an email, please, bestprowrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. Go on to iTunes. Please rate, review, and subscribe if you're a special new listener. And spread the word. Tell people about the show, especially if you like it. And what else? Follow me at Tommy Stryker. Spell Stryker with a Y. And check out Strong Honor, where we talk about New Japan and Ring of Honor Pro Wrestling 2. Taco, where can people find you?
Follow me on Twitter at HGREV
And you can follow me, Joe, at JoeBBWP. That's at Joe, Best Pro Wrestling Podcast.
That's going to do it for the Best Pro Wrestling Podcast this week. Bye!
Peace.
I like the turd burglars.
Yeah, Tommy Stryker.
Sammy Wow Wow.
Bob Roode.
Fuck Michael Elgin. Great balls of fire.